Wake me up when everybody gets here. Good morning, everybody. I'm kidding. I'm not sleepy. I'm just looking at the fact that 19 people are here right now. 19. Wow, wow, wow. Where is everybody? I know where they are. They're over at Kelsey's this morning. Unbelievable. 19 people. 24. Here you come. TGIF. I know it's Friday. Is it a holiday that nobody told me about? Wow, wow, wow. Well, good morning, everybody. We'll just cruise for a few minutes and wait for the class over at Kelsey's to let out. For everybody to wander over my way. They're still going over there. You can see. I'd hate to get started. I hate for any of you to miss out on drinking it if you got it and having to wait. So I guess it's time for me to say goodbye to Kelsey and goodbye to Ollie and Nelson and Chris Connell and all the other coaches in the world. Bit to do for the weekend and tell you all I will see you on Monday. So let's get down to business here, folks. This is Morning Coffee with Mitch. After all, and we've all been waiting for this. So here it comes. Drum roll. Maybe a little applause. Yeah, drink it. Drink it if you got it. Rick says, there are two of us here that will never be coaches. And there's damn few of us left, Rick. I gotta tell you, you and me, buddy. You and me, buddy, against all of them. But it's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bad thing. Because we may have a lot of coaches in our community because we're excited about this. But if you look out there in the world needs a few more people talking about carnivore and introducing people who never heard of it. So in that respect, kudos to all the coaches. I wish you a lot of luck. Don't forget your roots. Don't forget those of us who don't have letters behind our name. Right, let me get rid of the band here. Adios, band. See you on Sunday morning. Today is Friday, TGIF, my final day to wrap up this week. And I say take a day off, but I never do. Never do. I think what I'm going to do tomorrow, I talked about it last night on our private community live stream, which was great, by the way, and thanks to everybody who was there. We had a good time. I had a nice panel. Half a dozen of us on the screen. Peter was there. Peter's here now. Peter says, Rick, I'll never be a coach. Peter, I thought you were taking the coaching course. Where did I get that idea? Well, There's 3 of us left. How about that? Who knew? Who knew? So how you doing, Peter? Glad you're here. They finished up. I see they finished up over at Kelsey. Peter's talking to Donna Ray, evidently. Okay, I'll let the private conversations go on in the chat, and I'll try to somehow fit in here. All right, 2 days in a row, all I did was talk. And I watched both of those live streams where I did nothing but talk. I got compliments on those live streams from a lot of people saying they were the best live streams I ever did. Evidently, I must still have something valuable to say, although I wonder sometimes if anybody's actually listening, especially if I say it on my morning live streams, because at any given time in my morning live streams, I have an average of 100, 110, 120 people, which is good attendance for a live stream. Compared to the number of subscribers I actually have, it's a shockingly small percentage. Most people, no matter how much I talk, don't ever get to hear what I say on live streams. Because right now there's 72 people here, but I guarantee you that in a half an hour, most of these 72 people, with the exception of the hardcore, are going to be gone about their day, and some new people will come in. And at the end of the live stream every day, I look at the view count, and it's usually in the neighborhood of 300. That means 300 people have come and gone, while for an hour and a half, I'm spewing out what I think is important information, valuable information, correct information about important subjects that most people aren't interested in. Most people are saying, bring on the chuck roast recipes. Those videos get hundreds of thousands of views. And forget the fact that maybe you can make a little money doing that. My prime gripe with the way this live stream stuff is working out is that, with the exception of a very few very smart and interested people, which I can count on my fingers and toes most cases, I'm not doing any good. I'm not my so-called wisdom and so-called knowledge and all that other stuff is basically going out into the ether of space without passing by very many ears who might benefit from it, from actually learning how to think about this stuff logically and realistically. Understand the root causes of where those addictions are coming from. Be like that commenter on Kilts this morning, where every comment she wrote was, I can't stop eating cake, I can't stop eating candy, I can't stop eating sugar, I binge all the time, poor me, woe is me. Without ever saying, why the hell can't I stop binging all the time? And maybe try to understand it and where it comes from. And that's where I come from. But nobody wants to hear that. They want the magic bullet. They want the magic fix. They want to know, tell me something I can take. Give me the magic pill to fix this because I'm weak. I'm powerless to fight against it. And in that respect, you are powerless. And you'll never fix it. And I want to scream at that woman. Kelsey is on the right track when he says, it's mind over matter. But the mind has to understand. The mind has to know something, or else the mind will only convince the person that you can't help it. It's negative. It's your lot in life. You can't fix it. And if that's the way you think, your brain power will work as hard as it can to achieve the result that you believe is going to happen. And you believe that unless somebody comes along and saves you with that magic fix, there's no way to overcome it. That doesn't help. Peter says, Robbie Autry wants to know if we should take statins. Robbie, obviously by now, you got to know where I stand on that. But I've never said that is an absolute 100% correct statement for everybody. There are those who think, and I know I met all of them when I had my stroke, that the statins are the wonder drugs, that we should be weaned off of milk onto statins when we were a child, that the statins should be in the drinking water. They've bought into the propaganda of the drug companies without having seen any proven benefits for the masses. Now, plants can be medicinal, and it's been said the dose is in the poison. And there may be a certain set of circumstances or physical conditions where a little poison fixes it. Then we have a process called hormesis. That's where you can adapt to a poison by taking small amounts of it over a period of time. And people have cured lactose intolerance with that kind of thing by drinking tiny quantities of milk until their body develops a tolerance, or their immune system gets the word, or whatever it is that's causing them to be sick, finally comes to terms with whatever substance it is. Statins, the only benefit that I think has ever been demonstrated is they have a mild anti-inflammatory effect. And we all know that anti-inflammatory is good. Well, so does eating meat. I think eating meat has the best anti-inflammatory effect on the planet Earth. And I think that's the best thing anybody can do, is to get off the sugars and seed oils and grains. Certainly way surpass the benefit of a statin, because a statin is not going to cure your arthritis. A statin is not going to cure your autoimmune diseases. A statin is not going to cure everything else that inflammation is responsible for. Eating meat will. A baby aspirin might. But if that's the only effect, and we still don't know anything about what really happens in all aspects of our physiology by taking all of these external drugs, I don't think anybody can point to a definitive benefit of statin medications other than making the drug companies the richest industries on the planet. And we have gone over and over and over and over and over the origins of the cholesterol advice, and the fallacies and the fraud that were used, and the statistical manipulation of whatever studies they think they have that showed 40% reductions in heart disease. We all know that's, in reality and in real life, an absolute reduction of 0.8%. which in statistics doesn't even meet the bar of something that's statistically significant, which is 2%. And you ask me, should we be taking statins? And I will allow the fact that if some researcher or doctor somewhere has discovered a provable, demonstrable, cause and effect based benefit where you take this statin and it fixes that, and if they're sure that that's what's wrong with you, and they can convince you that your life will be so much better if you take this statin, and you don't have to be one of the 20 or 25% of people who have life-altering pain and side effects from that statin, and you're much better off taking that statin than a baby aspirin, if the only provable effect of a statin is a slight reduction in inflammation, yes, Robbie. Yes, you have my permission and blessings in that case to take a statin. You have my permission in any case to do whatever you want to do and take whatever you want to take. It's not my place to tell you should people, or anybody, should people take statin. That is an impossible question to answer. I think that for most people, my opinion, not my advice, but my opinion is they're useless and can harm you. Eat meat instead. Now, if you're not on a carnivore diet, if you're eating a typically American crap diet, you're 50, 100 pounds overweight, you're metabolically trashed, even then it'd be a stretch for me to say statins will help you, but you won't need statins if you're that way. You know, that's the irony of this. Here's the irony of it. And the thing that just makes me crazy, because I have a logical mind and I can't accept things that don't make sense. The irony of it is that the more crap your diet is, the more crap you eat, the more things you eat to make you more diabetic, fatter, give you more heart disease, give you dementia. The things that you eat that are ruining the health of the average American have one side effect. One side effect common to all of them. And Nick Norris proved that to us when he did his Oreo cookie versus statin experiment. And he pretty well showed something I've known for a long time, is that a crap diet full of breakfast cereals, low fat, no salt, is the most proven effective way to lower your cholesterol. Think about that. Who has the lowest cholesterol out there? Is it the people that eat 2 pounds of Cheerios a day, or is it a carnivore? Who's healthier? It's not the people that eat all the Cheerios and have low cholesterol. And if Nick Norwood had continued to eat a sleeve of Oreos every day, went low fat, Nick Norwood would weigh 300 pounds today and be on his deathbed. But his cholesterol, his numbers would be great. And that's the problem with a medical community that lives and dies by that number. And here's the irony of it. Not a single legitimate, well-planned and well-executed, non-biased, non-corrupt clinical trial exists that says otherwise, that shows any correlation, let alone causation, between high LDL, which is not cholesterol, Stop calling it cholesterol. High LDL. And any bad outcomes. Or any heart disease. Or anything like that. They've been trying for years to show a correlation between saturated fat and heart disease. They finally gave up. There is no such thing. So the entire, and this is what's so sad, I talked about false premises. My little walk and talk last week. I talked about you can't draw a true conclusion if you start with a false premise. A false premise that I used the French paradox to demonstrate. The fact that the French, with the highest fat diet in the world, have the lowest rate of heart disease of all the countries that Ansel Keys studied. How do you make that jive? That's impossible. It's a paradox. The word paradox means something that is impossible to exist. Unexplainable. Rather than say, well, maybe we're wrong about this link of fat to heart disease, dietary fat to heart disease, maybe that's not right. We have to try to explain why the French have such a low rate of heart disease. So they started with a false premise. They said, in this trying to find the answer, well, we know, proven science, that eating saturated fat causes heart disease. We know that for a fact. Somebody unfortunately forgot to tell the entire country of France and many other places in the world. They also forgot to tell all we carnivores, but this was 30, 40 years ago this happened. But they started with a false premise. We know as a settled fact that eating fat not only makes you fat, but causes heart disease. That is 180 degrees wrong. It's never been proven, let alone even demonstrated. But that was their false assumption. So they went looking for something. There has to be a reason, they said, so we need to find it. And that's when they decided to credit red wine with its magical chemicals, phytonutrients, polyphenols, tannins, and everything else must be the magic elixir that fixes whatever causes fat to kill people. The absurdity, the unscientific method. But none of that stuff makes any difference when you're trying to sell shit. So not only were they able to continue with that logic, that they actually started promoting the red wine and turned it into the huge industry that it is today. Because they convinced the dummies of the world, the people who don't know how to think, who demand real evidence before they believe something, don't jump on every fad, aren't so willing to accept the magic pill, the quick fix, especially if it's something so good like red wine. Everybody jumped on that. And now we have wine supermarkets. We have housewives who are never seen without a glass of wine in their hand. So not only have we taken the bad diet, but we've come up with a way to turn it in to a breeding ground for alcoholics who might not otherwise have been, and pumping themselves full of sugar and alcohol too, documented poisons to human physiology. And the health of everybody just accelerates downhill because of a false premise. False premise. Most people don't even understand the concept of a false premise being used to generate an erroneous conclusion. It is at the basics of logic and critical thinking. And frustrating to me, because to me, it's so friggin' obvious, the tactics that they use. And they use the same tactics in politics. You've heard it. We all know the Republicans want to push your grandmother off a cliff in a wheelchair. That's a given. They're evil, mean people. We need to vote Democrat. That's how we are herded as sheep in this world. That question, Robbie, is so deep and requires so much critical thought to answer. Would you recommend statins to everybody? It required an answer that took me 20 minutes. And hopefully somebody was listening and looked up for a minute from the chat where they're talking about their cats and started to think about what I just said. And that's why I think I'm wasting my time here on YouTube. Wasting my time. Nobody gets to hear what I say. And if they hear what I say, most of them don't understand it. They get bored and they click off to look for something else. And I'm trying to figure out, because I'm passionate. You can tell I'm passionate about it. I don't just come here to pump air up your skirts every day. Although that's a good thing, because you got to try to get positive about this. Maybe I come off negative, but I'm not negative. I'm a realist. And the reality of what they're putting us through is the biggest crime against humanity in human history. And I'm trying to get people to wake up to this simple fact that all of this stuff is bullshit based on a false premise. So instead of worrying about all the minutiae of, should I drink coffee or shouldn't I drink coffee? Should I eat plants or should I not? Can I eat broccoli if I want to? Can I eat any sugar? We just keep getting narrower and narrower in our views, more and more focused on fewer and fewer things, because in reality, that's the thing that actually works. So when we get somebody to start carnivore and they do away with all this other crap, they are going to start to heal, because it's an anti-inflammatory diet. But even the best of us, me, Kilts, the rest of us, nobody's proven to us all the claims they've made. So that always leaves that little doubt. Maybe there's something to that statin stuff. And we worry. And you see what Kilts has gone through. I went through it. I reconciled it. I went back and looked. Why do I think these drugs are such a waste and harmful? So I revisited all of the reasons that we got here, the reasons that we are told by every doctor, every medical professional to keep our cholesterol low, when in reality, the only studies that show anything valid are the meta-analysis of all the other phony studies. And when that data is analyzed and the conclusions drawn by the corrupt people who actually invented and created and designed those studies, when all that is thrown away and only the data is left, you got a data set of hundreds of thousands of human beings with two criteria: Did they have heart disease? And what was their cholesterol or their LDL level? And that data, just the data, no opinions, just sheer analysis of the facts, showed exactly the opposite of what they claim. That the people with the highest LDL lived longer. That is real information. That was first discovered 20 or 30 years ago in England. No, none of you ever heard of this. None of you have ever heard, at least I never heard, any other carnivore influencer tell you what I'm going to tell you now. Maybe I've just been around longer. Maybe I've been aware of this fraud longer. Maybe I was convinced 40 years ago that this whole thing was a fraud and a masquerade designed to sell drugs. I never thought I'd live long enough to see the health of the human population degrade to what it is now. I never thought I'd get to see this much money spent on health care. This length of time waiting to get treatment, waiting to see one of these doctors so that you can get more of the shit that's making you sick and killing you instead of eating the right food. But I've been around a long time. And 20, 30 years ago, there was a study done, a meta-analysis in England. They went into the hospital records, found the records of hundreds of thousands of people. Now, maybe that wasn't hundreds, maybe it was tens, whatever. I don't remember all the details. It was a long time ago. You never heard about this again, but I never forgot it. And they wanted to know one simple thing. This is when statins were first really starting to be pushed on us. They said, what was this person's LDL level when they died from some form or effect of heart disease or heart attack? Find us all the dead people. Find us the dead people that died from heart disease or heart attacks. Look in their charts and tell us what was their LDL level. Now, in theory, think about that. Could you think of a better way to get at the truth? By examining the records of people that died? Not even all-cause mortality. We're just talking about the claims that they're making about why high LDL is bad for you and you need to take a statin. And they did this study. And I heard about this study. And this study showed, without a doubt, this study correlated exactly when they took and categorized the number of people who died at any age. Without a doubt, the majority of them had the lowest LDL levels, and the minority of those people who died at that age had the highest. Think about that. Study in England. I've lost touch of that study. I'm sure it's out there. It could probably be researched, but it's there. We are just not going to hear about it from the American Medical Association, the American Diabetes Association, the American Heart Association, or any other association, because it contradicts their story that you need to get your cholesterol down, you need to take the statins, and buy the drugs from us. That is the truth. I've known that since the beginning of me trying to figure out the truth about this cholesterol nonsense. And it's why, over the course of my life, every doctor that wanted to put me on a statin, I lost respect for. Because they have no evidence, no proof. They're still relying on that phony Crestor study that showed a 0.8% reduction in risk of heart attack. 0.8, not even 1%. And that was one of many studies, but it was the only one published because the other studies probably showed the opposite. There was no effect. And they couldn't have that. And they came out with that ad that said, Crestor lowers your risk of heart attack by 40%. Yeah, from 1.3 to 0.8. That's the 40%. The difference between 1.3 and 0.8. Insignificant statistically noise. And you're supposed to bet a 20-25% chance you'll blow up your heart because of side effects from statins? It's lunacy. And I've been railing about it and ranting about it ever since. And now I got an audience of 100 people who are hearing me rant about it. Nobody will get this message. Nobody will start to think this way. And old Mitch ends my live stream every morning and said, well, just wasted another hour and a half of my lifetime for no money and got myself all frustrated and worked up because I'm trying to get people to think. So what I thought was, and I swore I was going to do this again this morning, but here I am. But this is why I'm here. This is the only reason I do this. I'll never change the world. Hopefully there's a few of you out there that start to think about things in terms like I do and say, maybe this guy's got something. So when you ask yourself the question, should I take a statin or not, Robbie, you'll know what I'm going to say because I keep saying it. If you find somebody out there, I don't know, I haven't found them, and if you find them, would you please let me know so I don't run the risk of giving bad advice or bad opinions? Let me know where I can find definitive proof of any benefit other than the same as a baby aspirin from taking a statin, because I know if I take the baby aspirin, I'm not going to blow up my heart. I'm not going to have muscle pain so bad I can't move. I'm not going to have one of the documented side effects of statins that account for the fact that 20 to 25% of most people who enroll in a statin study have to be removed from the study because it's too dangerous for them because of the statin side effects. And that is a documented fact. And you can find that in most any study. You can find how many people were expelled from the study because they had dangerous side effects. Take a baby aspirin. And what's going to happen is, old Mitch is going to become fertilizer, like Tiltsy says, one day. And all the propagandists out there are going to latch, just like when I had my stroke. See? That'd be carnivore. Causes strokes, you see? They're going to latch onto that. The news media is going to get a hold of it. And there's going to be a big headline with my picture on it that says, high cholesterol kills Mitch. And the carnivore diet is deadly. So no matter what we do, the money behind the fraud is so powerful that these people, after this length of time, actually believe their own bullshit. And there's a few other areas of human endeavor where you see the same phenomenon. And I get in trouble by pointing those out too. So it doesn't take much to trigger me. I wish I could just come on here every morning like Kilts. and just talk happiness and positivity and light. But I'm more like the Paul Revere. I'm the guy on the horse racing through the countryside screaming warnings that wake up, this is what's really happening, you know. And I can't help that. That's my passion. That's my passion. And I try to explain the logic of my thinking so that you won't just say, well, that's a harebrained idea. And I think if more people explained the reasons and the logic for their thinking, well, some people do, a lot of people do. Ken Berry does. He puts references. But be honest with me. Be honest with me. Be honest with yourself. How many people have watched a Ken Berry video and then went into the description of the video, found the 5 references, studies which are this thick, and read every word of every one of those studies to validate it? Or do you just say, well, I'm going to just assume Ken Berry's a smart guy and an honest guy, and he read these things, so I'll take his word for it? Come on, folks. Nobody looks at that shit. I think if more people looked at the descriptions of these videos, I'd get a lot more coffees bought for me. This is so fun. And Tristan bought me a coffee. Good morning, Mitch. She says, take the rest of the day off and eat. Thank you, Tristan. Thank you so much. I intend to. But what I started this little diatribe, and I'm not gonna go the whole 2 hours today, or an hour and a half. I'm gonna get to you guys and questions. Chris Wayne says, put the buy me a coffee link, and we get you more coffee. Absolutely, my friend. They got this is funny, and I don't know if it works. But when I logged into StreamYard this morning, I got a little notice up on advertisement from StreamYard up on the screen. It says, we now, get this, we now have, you can make QR codes. You can make QR codes with links. I said, See that? Up there in the upper left-hand corner? That's a buy me a coffee link. You can point your cell phone at it. It'll take you right there. How many people I said to myself, nobody will do that. But I made one just for fun. I didn't expect to use it today, and I will post the link itself in the chat because I appreciate coffee and something's got to keep me fired up. And I'm hoping that my audience, 125 of you here, is fired up because I get fired up. I leave the sweetness and light to Kelsey. He's good at that. I wish I was as positive as him, but I'm not. I can't be that positive in this when I understand the reality of all the negatives that are killing us. And I try to be positive only about the fact that maybe I can help somebody navigate this mess by learning how to recognize the corruption, recognize the cues, figure out why they're an addict and can't help it, that kind of stuff. And I just can't attribute that kind of stuff to motivational literature. I can't do it. Here's the buy me a coffee link. But I'm having fun. I feel useful when I do this. Even if I was standing out there on a hill myself, talking to nobody, I'd still feel like at least some reality is being injected into this universe of bullshit we live in. Con jobs, fraud, phishing scams, every kind of scam known to man that we get attacked with every day. Somebody's got to put some reality out there in the world, and I doubt that I'm shaking the world up, but I feel at least like I'm trying. Let's see, where is it here? I want to put this in the chat along with the QR code. There it is. Oh, thank you for suggesting that. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. So I got a QR code up there now. How about that? Anybody use it? Let me know if it works. That's really funny. That's funny. And Jerry Voigt bought me a coffee. Thank you so much, Jerry. And just for grins, I'm gonna see if it works. Where is it? There it is. Buy me a coffee. Damn, it worked. It said, yes. How about that? Yeah. Wow. Oh, made my day. It's fabulous. Jeff Johnson, the name you know. Using the QR code. Jeff Johnson here. There are so many negatives that are killing us, he says. Thanks for pointing those out, Mitch. I try, Jeff. I try. And the fact that I got you as a viewer, regular viewer, and so many other of you, it gives me a reason to live. I mean, thinking that somehow little old Mitch talking to 100 people can actually fix something, but it does fix things. And I do get emails from you saying, you saved my life, and that is so gratifying. And a little coffee now and then doesn't hurt either. Especially because they just raised my internet fee again. Another $5 a month, like everything else, though. Some wise man one says, money isn't everything, but it's sure so way ahead of what's ever in second place. I used to think that was a joke. That's wisdom. That's wisdom right there. So anyway, thank you all. Thank you all. All right. I said my piece. I answered my question for Robbie. I've talked about that. And I started off and I was going to tell you that what I'm going to be doing now, instead of making stupid videos about things that don't matter and having some tremendous speeches and rants that I make during my morning live stream that go unseen and unheard by almost everybody except 100 people. And who knows how many are watching at any given time. Because if I rant for an hour and a half, the odds are there may only be 10, 20 people that have heard all of it. And that's not helping many, because those people already probably know enough to not ask the questions like that. I'm going to start doing what Anthony Chafee does. I'm going to start putting out a ton of videos, because that's what you have to do on YouTube. But those videos are going to be clips and excerpts from my morning live streams where I think something worthwhile has been said that people should hear. And as a long-form video with its own thumbnail, I'll get thousands of views, and maybe people will benefit more, or they just don't want to watch it anymore, and then I just go away. But I'm going to start doing that. Chafee does it. Kilsey does it. Ollie, it takes clips from Izza Nelson's live streams, makes 20 videos a day out of them. I don't want to do that much, but at least a video a day, maybe two. I don't have to shoot it. I don't have to go through the setting up the lights and doing all that stuff and making that speech that I already made that morning off the top of my head that came out eloquently and well focused. I don't have to try to recreate it, which is where you really screw up, because I don't rehearse anything. It just comes out. And I'm going to take those and I'm going to put them as standalone videos, and hopefully they'll do some good. I'm going to try to do that for a while and see if it indeed does any good. So I hope it's something that works out. I will intersperse a cooking or recipe video when I have something that I think is a good one. But just to trying to figure out how to throw a chuck roast in a slow cooker to get a lot of views is not that satisfying to me. So I'm going to start doing more, let's say, ranting, because he usually rants, and hope that people don't just portray me as a bitter old man, because I'm not bitter. I'm passionate. Big difference. Not bitter. I'm not even angry. I'm passionate because I know these things so deep in my mind and heart to be true that it's a tragedy to watch people fall prey to the tactics like the scientists that work at the food companies to capitalize on your emotional weaknesses to ruin your health and that of your family. That, to me, is who our Department of Justice should be going after. And James Comey. I'm with him on that one. I'm with him on that one. Okay. I know that there's no chance I might ever catch up to this chat, but I wanted to say that. I wanted to make that little announcement. So probably starting tomorrow. And starting now, they're mowing the grass outside. Okay, so if you're a lawnmower go by, that's what it is. But starting tomorrow, I'm going to start, not today, starting tomorrow. And that chime sound, if you heard it, was the lawnmower guy running in front of my house, in front of the motion sensor on my front doorbell that brings the chime and let me know somebody is at my front door. Well, it was my lawnmower guy. So never ends. You just got to put up with the noise and go with the flow. Let me catch up with the coffees again. I want to thank everybody. I want to make sure I thank everybody. Wow. You guys are great. I must be striking a chord with somebody, for God's sakes, because Karen in England, 3 coffees. I value your information. Thank you, Karen. Tanya. Loyal Mitchford, always listening. Thanks so much, sweetie. Tanya bought me a coffee. Chris bought me a coffee. Yay, the QR code worked. Hey, how about that? Who knew? Thank you, StreamYard. And Jeff Johnson, I already said thank you. And Thomas, Target Prime Rib, did the code test it out? Yes, it did work. Thank you, Thomas. Jerry Voitish, it works. Thank you, Jerry. Tristan, good morning, Mitch. Take the rest of the day off. And the one before that was Francine from yesterday. And there's a lawnmower, but it's okay. Hopefully, this microphone should block out most of it. But guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can the lawnmower get any noisier? Probably not. At any rate, first in this morning was Mary M. And she knew it. Good morning, Mary. Peter is here. Peter's always here. Glad to see you, Peter. What happened to you last night, Peter? You just disappeared all of a sudden. Something we said? We pissed you off? We were so, we get so busy in that chat, we get so focused on things, especially last night. CB starts coming out with all of this stuff to show us. Rick never stops showing us stuff. I'm convinced Rick's got more junk in his house than any, I don't know, the word hoarder comes to mind, but he's coming up with all kinds of stuff, always holding something up in front of the thing, and I've never seen half of that shit before. But last night, CB comes out with, and get this, a book from the mid-1800s by J.D. Salisbury, Dr. Salisbury, that was an original edition, printed in the mid-1800s, he bought. And it had an inscription in it by Salisbury himself. And if you know who Salisbury is, he was a doctor way back when that used meat as a prescription to heal things, and they invented the Salisbury steak, which still bears his name. And CB came out with that book, and what a find. He found it on eBay. What a find. What a piece of history. But we had kind of devolved into a Antique Roadshow by the end of the stream, and I had to finally cut it off after an hour and a half. And everybody's holding shit up. We have a wild time, and interesting enough, we let our hair down, those of us that have hair, on the private community live stream, and talk about everything in the world, usually except carnivore, because we all spend so much time talking about, watching videos, listening, studying, reading about carnivore that we need a break from it. So we have a wild time. We have a wild time. So everybody chimed in this morning. I'm gonna hopefully keep talking and run down the chat the chat. It's hard to read when I go fast. I'm looking for the QQQ. See if anybody else has got an issue they want to talk about today. Yeah, here's the one from Robbie that got me started. Should I lifestyle? Should we bother using a statin? No, I don't. Unless, like I said, I don't want to repeat that whole diatribe, but I meant what I said. Unless they come up with documented proof that you have some condition that statins have been, without a doubt, no monkey business shown to really be a benefit, no. And I know Kiltz is busy searching for that same answer. And when you start searching for that answer, and you want there to be a magic pill, here's the key, the psychology of it. You want the fix. You want it to be true. Somebody says, you need to take this statin, it'll fix you. Whether you know in your heart that that's bullshit, you still want it to be true. Here's the way you can eat all the ice cream you want if you just sprinkle this powder on top. And it will make you fat. Sign me up. Sign me up. No proof, but sign me up. I want that to be true. So I use Kiltz as an example because he's not keeping it a secret. Kiltz got some laboratory results that disturbed him. And he wants to not have that problem. Oh, you can couch it off on all this. We're going to become fertilizer someday. All that reasoning that we do with ourselves when we're in denial or going through the 5 stages of grief because of some bad news. But the reality is that we tend to decide to believe the things we want to believe with a whole lot less convincing than we decide to believe the things that maybe we have to accept, but they're not what we want to believe. I reconcile all that in my mind by one simple tactic and one simple thought, and then I stop agonizing over it. You want to know what that is? It's a big secret. Could sell it for money. Tell us, Mitch, how do you come to terms with that and accept the fact that whatever it is that you got, you're pretty well stuck with because there's nothing else you can do to fix it? And we all hit that at some point in our life. I don't care whether it's the death of a loved one. Something happens that we don't like that we can't change. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's personal, whatever it is. Maybe it's health-wise. As you get older and older, it'll happen to you more and more often. Your best friend dies. Your dog dies. You can't fix it. So you have to come to terms with it, which spawns off what they call the 5 stages of grief. But in the final analysis, it didn't get fixed. So my secret, my secret weapon, my ace in the hole, first requires that I accept the fact that some things are unfixable. When you get older, some damage I've done to my body at some point in my life by all the bad food and bad choices, which I thought were right but turned out to be wrong, have done damage, have deposited plaque in my arteries. The first thing I have to do is convince myself, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that it is an unfixable problem. There is no way to clean the plaque out of every capillary in your brain, and surgery will be required to open up any big arteries that you have and put stents in. But there's no Drano that you can drink that's going to flush it out your rear. Doesn't work that way. The plaque is underneath. It's in the muscle of your artery walls, not lining the inside like a plugged up sewer pipe. That's not what happens. And you can't get in under the cell walls of the arterial lining and clean it out and scrape it and do anything. The only thing you can do, and this applies mostly to younger people, is whatever you can do to stop the progression. Whatever caused it in the first place, and we know what that was, shit diet, change that, and maybe it won't progress. And that's what Kelsey's faced with, and me too. What we want to believe is there's a magic cure. And every statin pill probably comes with a little fairy dust that you can sprinkle. But that's not true. That won't fix it. The best we can do is stop the progression. And can we even completely stop the progression? Because the plaque is caused by inflammation. We're pretty sure of that now. Can you really stop all inflammation in this world where you're immersed in inflammatory things from morning till night, whether it be pollution, whether it be stress, whether it be whatever it is? Our body's natural tendency is to get ready for battle when danger is sensed. You can't help that. You can try to help by meditating and living in a utopia of happiness and unicorns, but I don't know, does that really help? It doesn't. So your first thing, in order to come to terms with the realities of life, is to say, is there anything I could do about this if I wanted to, that I'm not, here's the key, this is the secret, this is a money shot, guys, that I'm not already doing? Did you get that? Is there anything more than what I'm already doing that will make this situation deteriorate less, not get any worse? Is there any fix? And that fix could include more exercise, less exercise, diet, exogenous substances, treatments and drugs, surgeries. Is there anything available to me? And then you have to consider that my insurance company pay for, or that I can afford, that I can do to make this situation not as much of a problem as it would have been if I didn't do. And I decided what that was quite a while ago. And that is, stop eating inflammatory foods and try to be happy and live with less stress and less pressures and less problems. And reduce the inflammation as best you can and learn to relax. For me, whether it's helping me or hurting me, I kind of doubled down on cigars. There's never, at no time do I feel more relaxed than when I'm puffing on a cigar. And I don't inhale it. So is the benefit I get from it outweigh any potential harm? I've been doing it for 55 years. It hasn't killed me yet. I still don't cough. I have no lung problems. I have no breathing, shortness, nothing, because I don't inhale the smoke. I don't pull it into my lungs where it gets into my bloodstream and all that. Is there any more pollution coming from my cigars than just breathing the air we breathe? I don't know, but I know that it makes me relaxed. It makes me relaxed, makes me de-stress. I had a doctor tell me that that was such a benefit, and he didn't see any harm in puffing cigars. My grandfather puffed cigars till he was 102. I know so many people who do. I know the only people that I know who have had any ill effects from smoking are cigarette smokers or people who actually inhale cigars, and there are some of them. But the way that I get by, the way that I reconcile and not agonize, and Kilsey will get there. He'll get there. He's talking to every doctor he knows. They don't know either. Kilsey, he's talked to me about it. I don't know either. I only know what works for me. But all these doctors, like Dr. Paz and Dr. Ovadia, they don't know any more than anybody knows. It's very simple. You have to decide and research, is there anything I can do? Is there anything that's proven that isn't just a sales pitch or some snake oil that will actually an artery cleanse? There's a word, that artery cleanse. There's a phrase that is just ripe with fraud. And the answer is no. That's why they'll tell you when you go on Carnivore, you probably won't see reduction in your CAC score. Of course not. You can't clean that shit out. You can stent it. That's about all you can do, and that's major surgery, and that's in the bigger arteries. You can't stent a capillary in your brain. It's 1/10 the width of a human hair. I'm sorry. We don't have the surgical tools to do that yet. And how many capillaries do you have in your brain? Millions? Be expensive surgery and probably kill you, because the surgeon probably cut the wrong thing. Is there anything I can do other than what I'm doing? And what I'm doing is eating the most anti-inflammatory diet that we have discovered so far, with enough evidence to prove to us that it's reality and not fantasy. And it's not an attempt to sell us anything. They're not trying to sell us the meat that we're eating, like the drug companies are trying to sell us the drugs. It's up to us to go find the meat. If they're selling anything, it's basically a concept that will help. And they get rewarded for that by having large private communities, big YouTube channels. So it's not all altruism, but that's okay. People are entitled to make a living if they provide a meaningful and valuable service. But that's how I do it. And I'll talk about that more and more, but I do it by simple common sense and logic. I've got this problem, yes or no? More than likely. Do I want to get 1 million blood tests and find out just how bad this problem is? Not on your ass, I don't. Because I feel pretty good. And if I find out that it's worse than I thought, then I won't feel good anymore. And I'll become depressed. And I'll do nothing but spend the rest of my life worrying about something that's going to strike me down. And then when it doesn't strike me down, I'll be 110 years old, having wasted the last 30 years of my life That's not the way life is. We're not supposed to know some of this stuff. It's bad enough we actually know we're going to die someday because we're the only animals that do. That's a burden to carry. And somewhere deep in our psyche, we don't want to believe it. We honestly think we're going to live forever. If you're honest with yourself, you don't want to accept death. Let it be a surprise. It won't matter. If you're already doing everything you can do to be healthy, feel good, and slow down the progression of that which most likely will kill you, because something will, then you're already doing everything you can. And worrying about the fact that you can do nothing about it is only going to be harmful to you. So you have to say, it ain't so bad. I feel pretty good. Got a good life. Can relax. Can enjoy my friends. Enjoy what I do. And when it's my time, it'll be my time. Because there's never been a human being that's ever lived in the last millions of years whose time didn't come. Regardless of what you see in Marvel Comics and immortal superheroes. Sorry, stuff's fantasy. Along with so much else in this world. Absolute fantasy. I live in reality. I hope that helped. I know it took some time, but I hope that philosophy of mine actually helped. And it's the reason why, at my age, accepting the fact that there's damage that's been done. I had a stroke, which I'm pretty convinced now came from botched surgery, but even if it didn't, nothing I can do about it. I'm healing, I'm recovering. I don't expect another one, but who knows? If something caused the first one. And I'm already doing lifestyle things that I think give me the best chance of continuing to improve, because most people at my age, 78 and a half, are on the downhill, if not dead already. I've lived 2.5 years longer than the average age in this country now. But I shouldn't be getting mentally sharper, clearer thinking. I shouldn't. I should be descending into dementia right now if I was an average person. I shouldn't be taking no prescription drugs and have no illnesses and no ailments. I shouldn't be non-diabetic. I shouldn't feel good. I shouldn't be healing like I am. But I am. That just enables me to believe I'm right. And if you don't believe you're right, you don't stand a chance anyway, because then you're going to be negative and you're going to be depressed and say, I can't do it, I can't do it. So I have a simple trick, which I just told you, and I'll tell you again. Accept what you can't change. Sounds like AA, doesn't it? Accept what you can't change. Be already doing anything you can do to keep it from getting worse. Don't go out of your way looking for signs that it is getting worse, which would be a bunch of stupid blood tests. And they talk Kilts into getting an NMR. And I'm not going to give Kilts advice, but why? What are you going to learn? And if you learn it, what can you do about it that you're not already doing? It's a case where you're already living the healthiest life on the planet. What more can you do at your age? And whatever you decide, do you think it's going to maybe make it better? If it has more of a chance of making it worse, do you really want to do that? For me, it's the fact that I don't have symptoms. I don't have symptoms right now. Oh, lawnmower, yes. I don't have symptoms. I don't have symptoms of heart disease. I don't have chest pains, shortness of breath. I don't have edema. I don't have swollen ankles. I don't don't have any of the symptoms of heart failure. I don't have dementia. My brain works. Sometimes I wish it didn't work so well. So obviously, I'm not ready to go yet. Now, keeping in mind that the reality is sometimes there's a bus around every corner just sitting there waiting for you to walk by so it can run over you. That's life. You can't plan for those things and defend yourself. You could just maybe stay home. The bus would have a hard time, and my luck, the bus would run into my house and kill me. So, and anyway, I hope that little speech showed you a mindset and some logic that maybe might help you. Maybe might help you. Yeah, Tuka wants me to get an MD. Why would I want to do that? I'd be embarrassed. With the state of medicine today to put MD after my name? For me, it's an embarrassment. I hate to say that, but I see it, other than the few doctors I know that are carnivore guys and have seen the light and decided they can't practice medicine like they used to because they're hurting people. Every other doctor that has MD after his name, I think it's a despicable human being. If they think they're doing the right thing, then they're a moron. They're an idiot with their eyes closed, in it for the money. How could somebody watch every one of their patients get worse and worse and worse and need more and more drugs and think they're helping people? They have blinders on. The doctors that wake up, most of them have to quit medicine, and a number of them have, because they realize they're in a system that is killing people and making them suffer and helping no one. The only doctors I actually respect anymore are those doctors that deal in trauma and emergencies and fix broken things. They are mechanics. They know how to work a screwdriver and a saw. And I have no respect for them. See, that's one thing. People can't demand your respect. You can't demand you respect them because of their accomplishments or their position or their education or their degrees or their letters. You can't demand respect. You can earn respect, and that takes time. But you can't demand it. You have to earn it. Have to earn it. Oh, I'll never get through this. Well, I haven't gotten to an hour and a half yet. That seems to be the average length of my show. I see a lot of people are agreeing with me in my pontification today, but I do want to go through this while the lawnmowers are still running. Yeah, here's what Chris said. Thank you, Chris. That's a great idea. I hope you like my... I wonder if people are going to wonder what that QR code is up there and say, I wonder what that is. Let's see. Oh, buy me a coffee. Well, seeing as I'm already there, click. Oh, I'm so shameless. God, I'm so shameless. I do get sucked into reading these things as they go by. I'm really just looking for the QQQs, but I get sucked into reading them. Proud American says, have you been using the new Typher air fryer? Not yet. Not yet. I've been taking a couple of days off of filming videos. They told me to wait till October 9th before I release any more videos on that because it's a new product. I didn't jump the gun too much, but I got the first mention of it out on YouTube, which is crazy. They didn't scold me, but they also didn't tell me, didn't get me to sign an NDA. And usually when a company releases a new product, like say DJI puts out a new drone or Canon puts out a new camera, and they send them all out to their big influencers, the guys who, But the release date isn't officially announced until a month away. But they give these guys a month to make their videos, which are not really review videos, really, because these people work for them. They get the free products. And they've signed something with these people, giving the companies the right to actually edit their videos before they're published. And for that, they give them a code that gives them a percentage commission on everyone sold through their links, and they give them free stuff. Sometimes thousands of dollars worth of stuff, especially when it comes to cameras and drones. I never have a deal like that, nor do I want one. You want to send me your air fryer? Take a chance. You think it's that good? You're not going to get to see my video before I release it. It's going to be honest. And that's why most of these people don't want to deal with me, because they can't control me. So Typher, I like their stuff. This stuff is great. It's some of the best I've ever seen. So I'm enthusiastic, and they're happy with me. They took a chance, and I didn't disappoint them. Or they didn't disappoint me, even more important. So they sent me this new one, and they told me to wait. So I'm going to start cooking with it next week. And I'm going to try to cook a lot of stuff with it and film it. Make a video to be released on October 9th. I know that it wasn't supposed to be a surprise because it's on their website. It's been on their website ever since I got mine. But for some reason, I just got it, unboxed it, and made a video. Because that's the kind of guy I am. But yeah, it looks good. It has a built-in wireless Bluetooth thermometer. It's a different style. It doesn't have a self-cleaning mode like the Typher 2, Dome 2 does, but it costs half as much. My son got a Dome 2, and he's raving about it. I love mine. God, what so easy. I've never seen anything so easy to clean in my life, and I haven't even had to run the self-cleaning mode on it, but just the basket, just cleaning out that tray, that ceramic coating on there is awesome. And it doesn't seem to scratch or wear. I've been cooking in it for weeks and weeks. Almost most of my cooking has been in that air fryer, and it just sits there. And I look inside; it still looks clean in there. I might run the self-cleaning mode just to see what happens. And Rick, I don't know what this means, Rick. Were you being complimentary? Mitch cigar is BS repellent. Yes. That's why I smoke it. BS repellent. You might fool me, but you'll never get past my cigar. It knows. It knows. Michael Pregler, hi, Michael. Michael's here. I didn't say hello to so many people, and so anybody I missed, hello. Glad you made it today. I'm going out with a bang again. I think that this is a better way to do a live stream for me. I may not intermingle with you as personally as I usually do, saying hi to everybody, but I think that more important would be that I try to say things that might be educational or meaningful, or if that's not too presumptuous of me. And maybe that's a better use of the time. Tanya, appreciate you, Mitch. Right back at you, Tanya. Thank you so much. Hey, Journeyman. I just subbed, buddy. You on every morning. Yes, sir. 6 mornings a week. All except Saturday. All except Saturday, where I defer to my friend the Duckman Charger Mopar, who does a show absolutely nothing like mine, but entertaining nonetheless. DS111's here. Yeah, he answered Journey. Thank you. Appreciate that. What am I at time? I'm at 8:22. Whoa, I'm almost, wow, how about that? I almost got through it. I don't see Peter chatting away a lot. Maybe Peter went away. But, yeah, the level of chat has dropped off. Still got 108 people. So I guess we're winding it down. Rick, keyboard is failing. So what's new, Rick? And Roxanne loves the Doom too. Well, whatever that means. Roxanne was the winner over there on Kelsey this morning. What did you win? Did you win some liver capsules or a T-shirt? Thomas still here, Rick, and that's it. I'm at the bottom of the chat. Super. How about that? Well, we cover something. I'm going to start putting out clips. Hopefully, they're not going to be 20 minutes long, although some of those rants go that long. I think a shorter video, making a particular point, trying to edit it down to maybe where you don't have to spend a ton of time to get the message, would be helpful. If they're not helpful, nobody cares, I'll stop doing it. That's the way YouTube is. They change their shit every day. We need to figure out some way to dance and weave and change our stuff to fit in with all their new changes to their algorithm, what they push, what they don't, who they censor, who they shadow ban. It's not biased in our favor right now. That's for sure. The powers that be, the money that buys most of the advertising, and you see that by the commercials that they show you, doesn't want our message to get out. They'll advertise on our message to try to convince you that we're wrong and you need to be a dancing diabetic fat person like their hero in their commercial. That's life. That's life. The money talks. The money talks. Always has, always will. The irrefutable aspect of human nature. Everybody got a price. So basically, that means anybody with enough money can buy anything. Anything. Including governments. So my friends, Friday, coming up on 8:30, little happy music. Say goodbye to your friends. Little happy music. Here we go. Michael Pregler says, I always like to listen to you, Mitch, because I value your opinion and you happen to be one of the smart ones. Keep it up, buddy. Thank you, Michael. Back at you. And Main Runner. No carb life hasn't been popping up lately, and I forgot about Dave. Yeah, I don't see him much. If you don't watch me or any other YouTuber, even a big popular one, you don't watch him for 4 or 5 days, YouTube will stop feeding them to you. And you got to go look for them again. Just the way YouTube works. They keep changing. And we have to keep figuring out ways, how do we keep our audience involved? Because if we take a day off, YouTube says, guess he's done. We've used him up, spit him out, shoot him up, on to the next person. Who else can we make popular? Use the hell out of them, sell the most ads, and then discard them when we're done with them. That's the way YouTube works. YouTube is an influencer crunching machine. Chews you up and spits you out. Figures out how to get the most work from you for the least amount of reward. And that's why if there's nothing in being a YouTuber other than feeling good, you're barking up the wrong tree. It's like being being a musician. 1 out of a million makes it to rock star status. The rest of them are playing dirty clubs in front of a bunch of drunks for little money. That's life. And that's how YouTube is. CB, you're still here. Good to see you. Have a nice weekend. Rick, Roxanne, DS111. All you guys take care of yourselves. Rick, I'll probably be lurking tomorrow at certain times and stop by and say hello. So y'all have a great weekend. I will see you Sunday morning at 7 a.m. for Morning Coffee with Mitch. Do I have any coffee left? I have a sip left for the end. And still hot from that coffee warmer. Wow. So take the rest of the day and tomorrow off. And I'll see you Sunday morning. And don't forget, eat meat.